and the Big Ten Network. In addition to his role in setting the strategic direction at BTN, Silverman also oversees all aspects of programming, production, marketing, and digital for live events and studio shows at Fox, FS1, and FS2. Go ahead, Mark.
Great. Good morning, everybody. I always enjoy coming here and speaking to this group. For the past 11 years, I've been doing this, and all of us at BTN have been really thrilled for all the coverage we provide for all the 14 Big Ten universities. The network has grown significantly over the years. We're always looking to add more games, show some interesting stories, and do all we can to represent our schools and our conference in a way that viewers, alumni, fans, and students will enjoy. And all these groups have responded to our efforts. The network has enjoyed growing ratings, numerous awards, and become a key part of Football Saturday to Big Ten fans. Our training camp shows have been a recent addition to our programming, and we proudly offer this year's version, Gold and Black Days, featuring the improving Purdue football program. The show will debut on August 14th and run for 4 weeks up until the first week of football season. In addition, a new season of The Journey and a new season of Campus Eats will be back, along with the latest edition of our Big Ten Elite Series, this time focusing on the 1997 Nebraska football team. This past year alone, BTN was nominated for a National Sports Emmy Award for the feature The Reason I Play, and we also won a National Murrow Award for the Journey piece on the Iowa Wave. And despite this growth and success, BTN is now facing our biggest challenge since the launch of the network. Our 10-year agreement with Comcast expires at the end of August. A few months ago, BTN was removed from out-of-market cable systems on Comcast, which is the leading cable provider in the country. Upon learning of the impending removal, we immediately reached out to Comcast in an effort to keep the network on the air. Comcast was intent on dropping BTN and refused to listen to our plea. Unlike the usual scenario in these carriage disputes, there is no economic benefit to Comcast at all to do this and remove BTN from their systems outside the Big Ten area, which begs the question, why did they do this? Well, within the Big Ten footprint, Comcast systems are also the primary cable provider. In fact, 10 of the 14 schools in the Big Ten are markets where Comcast is the leading cable provider. Basically everyone except for Ohio State, Wisconsin, Nebraska, and Iowa. Every other school, Comcast is the leading cable provider. Unfortunately, my fear is the removal of BTN in the outer market may just be the first step in Comcast's plan to remove BTN from their systems everywhere, including in the Big Ten home markets. Now, in addition to the BTN agreement expiring, so is the agreement for all Big Ten games that air on FS1. BTN and FS1 have made proposals to Comcast dating back to February, and we've had no substantive response at all. As a result, we believe BTN and those Big Ten games that air on FS1 are in danger of not being carried on Comcast this coming season. So we are letting people know this to alert Comcast subscribers of this real possibility they may lose these games. The good news is that Comcast will be alone if they decide to drop BTN and those Big Ten games on FS1. These games are available on many different television providers, cable, satellite, and the new internet providers as well, and viewers will have no problem finding alternative providers in their area. BTN and FS1 are expected to televise approximately 60 games this year, close to 2/3 of all football games in the Big Ten. In addition, BTN and FS1 will air 22 of the first 24 games for those 10 schools that are in the Comcast markets. If you look at our schedule, BTN is looking to have 5 games. BTN and FS1 together will have 5 games on week 1. There will be 7 games in week 2. Week 3 shows a total of 10 games on BTN and FS1. And as we look to week 4, which has not yet been set, but as we project out based on where the selections are, every single conference football game on week 4 will air on BTN or FS1, including all of the Big Ten markets that I referenced before. Now, we're going to continue to negotiate in good faith with Comcast in an effort to bring BTN and the Big Ten games in FS1 to all of our fans and alumni and viewers across the country. To learn more, we urge you and urge our fans and viewers to go to keepbig10.com, where they could learn more as we continue on with this process. And with that, I will open up for any questions.
We'll start here on the left side of the room, right in the middle.
Mark, Hondo Carpenter with Spartan Nation. It sounded like you said that Comcast did not even respond to you, so I'm curious, how are you negotiating if they're not talking to you? And if it doesn't make sense financially for them, did they give you any reason whatsoever?
Yeah, I don't know what makes sense financially for Comcast. I'm feeling with a little over 5 weeks left before football season, we should be much further along than we are. It's extremely concerning. I've gone through this with them 10 years ago. And I can't predict what their motivations are. I don't know what their motivations are. We believe a strong value product, especially in our Big Ten area. We know we rate among the highest of all sports networks in our area. We believe we've given viewers and fans a lot of fantastic moments covering the Big Ten over the past 10 years. And we believe we should be in every single cable lineup across the country, including Comcast, and we hope to be able to do that.
Stay on that side of the room for our next question.
Sam McEwen from the Omaha World Herald. You said every game on September 22nd is on either BTN or FS1. That's, I think, uncommon. How did that come to be, and is that a way of leveraging Comcast?
Yeah, it's not every game. I believe there is a game or two that did fall to ESPN that week. It's not,
Okay.
The way the selection process works, it'll typically be all the networks with at least a game or so each week. So the selection process was done a while ago. We try and get the best games to air on Fox Sports 1 and Fox and BTN. And that's just kind of the way the process has always worked, where you select the games and you try to put the best games you can on your own networks.
Floor is open right now. If you have a question, please raise your hand. Take our next one down here in front on the aisle.
Ryan Schuling, Great Lakes Divide. Mark, about the digital platforms and the transitioning to those, as you project it going forward in the future, whether it's 5 years or 10 years, negotiations with Comcast might become almost obsolete. How do you envision that kind of progressing as we go forward from here?
Yeah, we believe currently the best way to distribute our product is through all the different cable and satellite and digital providers that are out there. We think with the advance of a lot of the digital companies that we have deals with, there are a lot of options that offer BTN in a variety of ways. We're comfortable with this newer method of distributing BTN digitally through these other providers, but we do believe in the value of offering consumers a variety of different networks together. And we obviously are going to keep our eyes open as things evolve in the industry, and there's a lot of movement, as you're kind of alluding to. So we're going to look to distribute our network to as many people as possible, given our existing deals and given the basic tenor of the network.
I think our next question will be here on the aisle, same side of the room, just a few rows back.
Hi, Mark. Scott Docterman,
Hi,
The
Scott.
Athletic. How you doing? Looking again at that graphic on September 22nd, Nebraska, Michigan, and Iowa, Wisconsin both were FS1 games, at least according to that graphic.
Right.
Is that just a placeholder, or did FS1 actually get both of those games?
Right. Well, at this point, whether those games, there is an opportunity for Wisconsin, Iowa to end up on Fox, but the Nebraska, Michigan game, as of today, is planned to be aired on FS1.
Time for a couple more. If you have a question, please raise your hand. Last call. All right.
Thank you, everybody.
Thank you very much. We'll have another brief break, and then our next speaker will be Ohio State head coach Urban Meyer. Up next is Ohio State head coach Urban Meyer, entering his 7th year, guiding the Buckeyes after leading Ohio State to a 12-2 overall record, a Big Ten championship, an East Division crown, and a victory over Southern California in the Cotton Bowl in 2017. Ohio State returned 16 starters from last year's squad. Coach, go ahead with your opening statement.
Thank you for being here. I'm honored to represent the great state of Ohio and the Ohio State University and our football program. Excited to talk about our players and our team here for the next few hours. And then obviously had to make a change on our coaching staff yesterday. It was the best interest of our team. I'll answer maybe a couple questions about that, but once again, my focus is on our team and our players as we move forward. So honored to be here, and I'll answer any questions for you.
Raise your hand. We'll get the microphones right over to you. We'll start down here in the far left corner in the front.
Bill Landis from Cleveland.com. Urban, you said earlier that you were aware of the incident with Zach in 2009. Your inquiry into 2015 was unfounded. You couldn't find anything. Why fire Zach now if you had kept him on staff after 2009?
Well, I am going to address the 2009 because I've been asked about that. 2009, Zach was an intern, a very young couple. As I do any time that I imagine most coaches or people in leadership positions, you receive a phone call, first thing you do is tell your boss, let the experts do their jobs. We're certainly not going to investigate. It came back to me that what was reported wasn't actually what happened, and so Shelley and I actually both got involved because of our relationship with that family and advised for counseling and wanted to help as we move forward. 2015, I got a text late last night that something happened in 2015, and there was nothing, unless, once again, there's nothing, once again, I don't know who creates a story like that. And then this recent one was, you press pause. It's something our team lives by, E plus R equals O. You get an event, you press pause, get your mind right and step up. Press pause to gather information, get your mind right to gather energy, and then step up to do the right thing. That's the position that I hold, and that's why we did that.
Take our next questions all the way in the back, same side of the room.
Hey, Urban. Austin Ward from Letterman Row. It's my understanding that Brian Hartline will serve as the wide receivers coach, at least on an interim basis. What is that going to be the case, and what have you learned about having him around for the last year or so?
I can't see you, Austin.
I'm back here.
That decision will be made later in the week. Any speculation up to that point, certainly that. I have not even addressed my staff. I addressed several of our staff. This happened rather quickly, so I get back tonight. Tomorrow we'll have conversation. I'll probably release something by the end of the week, what our plans are.
Coach, we'll shift over to the right side of the room against the wall here.
Doug Lesmerises, Cleveland.com. Just to clarify, Urban, did firing Zach now, is it because any of this became public, or is it because there was another incident that led to the latest protective order on Friday?
I'm not going to get into that, Doug. It's a very personal matter. The decision was made. I think the details that I'm obligated to give, I gave. You're talking about people's lives, et cetera. So the decision was made. It's time to move forward. And we are in a public world. I try not to operate, especially when you're talking about personnel and people, making things because it became public. But to say that doesn't have something to do with it, it does a little bit. I'm one of those ones that I really don't care about that. I try to stay focused on what's the most important thing, that's our players and our team. But I do understand the value of, it's the Ohio State University is bigger than all of us. And so you have to do what's right by them. And the timing, it wasn't just my decision, it was a group effort on several people that I rely on.
Knowing your relationship with Earl Bruce, how did that factor into all of this? And obviously you have a relationship with that family and with Zach that extends beyond just him being an employee of yours. How did that factor into all of this?
Well, Zach was first hired because of his skill set. I knew about it because he was with me at Florida. Played for me at actually Bowling Green. But Coach Bruce now is strong relationship I've ever had, other than my father. I've made that clear many, many times. And so the big picture that was very important in this particular situation, I think that's one of the hard jobs of a leader. You have to make decisions that are for the best of the program, and I did.
Coach, we'll shift back to the left side of the room, right smack in the middle.
Bill Rabinowitz, Columbus Dispatch. 2 questions. One, how much, about the Zach Smith matter, how much of that was it violated one of the core values of the program in dealing with respect toward women, domestic violence? And then the second question, a football question, just how talented is this roster from top to bottom in comparison with what you've had previously at Ohio State?
The core values is something that, there's a difference between a mistake and a core value. When I was, I believe, 6 years old, I was sat down by my father and it was explained to me about what core values are and what mistakes are. Mistakes are correctable. Core values are who you are, and there's certain things that we sat down that day. I remember 6 years old trying to think, what the heck is he talking about? What has stuck with me, I'm 54 now, and to this day I still teach my family the same thing. So it is, core values are very strong. And so that was a big part of it. Number 2, a very talented team. Very good people, guys that worked hard. We have our tradition that Coach Mick will hand me the teams on August 2nd before we start work on August 3rd. And I'm anxious to see him go. The difference between today's calendar as in years past, where I see him all the time. I've been at the last 4 workouts, I believe, so I know what we're getting. Even the young players, a lot of times you have no idea what you're getting until you watch them go. But the incoming freshmen, we have a good feel. Obviously not the contact part, but the athleticism. Very good team. Got to stay healthy and be smart on it. The key word for our preparation this year is going to be efficient. We have 25 practices, no 2-a-days, and a day off during training camp. We have to be very efficient on how we get ready for Oregon State.
Coach, we'll go right down dead in front of us here.
Hi, Urban. Dave Biddle, 24/7 Sports. First of all, just your expectations for Dwayne Haskins this year at quarterback, and also can you give an update on Tuff Borland, how his injury status and how he's coming along?
Dwayne Haskins, the position will never change. The expectation is to be the best quarterback in the Big Ten, which is very hard because we have some excellent quarterbacks. The one that the void is going to be the leadership component. That guy, I can't remember his name, was there for 4 years prior, JT, who I love that guy, always will. And what he did for our team inside, not many even people aware of, is I'll forever be indebted to JT Barrett. That's how good a person, leader he was. This guy's very skilled. The guy behind him is very skilled. If we took the snap today, I made it clear that Dwayne would be the quarterback, but 30 days from now, a lot happens in 30 days. Matt Baldwin's our third-team quarterback. He's up to 200, I believe, 9 pounds right now. He's gained 20-some pounds. He had a tough injury, but I watch him work, watch him throw. So I wish we had one more because you like to have 4. But Dwayne's very talented throwing the ball. But that's, you know, that's 1/3 of what a quarterback has to do. And lead and toughness are the other two. Oh, Tuff Borland's doing great. He's got the same pain threshold and, you know, as JT Barrett. You know, JT Barrett, when the doctors told me after our rivalry game that's going to be several weeks, I kind of laughed as I walked out of the room, so that means he'll be 5 days. Same with Tuff Borland. Well, it's a really tough injury, and I'm looking at Tuff, and I smile, and he winks at me, and he's on course to perform this fall.
Go right next to him.
Yeah, Coach. Steve Hellwagman, 24/7 Sports. I want to ask the Barrett question about Dwayne Haskins. From the moment that it was apparent Joe was not coming back, have you seen Dwayne seize leadership of the offense, the team? It'd be impossible to perhaps match what JT did, but in your mind, is he putting himself in the right spot with
yes.
that?
And the big word is respect and earn trust. It's the job of a leader, earn trust, and that's the most, you know, all due respect to other sports, this is the most unique position in all of sport. He has to understand the entire defense. He has to understand all 10 other players, what they're doing on offense. He's got to make decisions in split seconds. And by the way, he's got people like Bosa trying to tear his throat out. And so very unique position, but he's done very well. And Tate has done very well too.
We'll go 2 rows behind him right there.
Dan Hope from 11 Warriors. Urban, have you ever been in a position like this where you've had to replace a coach this close to the season, and how do you handle that? How do you move forward from that?
Well, I've been very fortunate. We've had very little, we've had turnover where people have gone on to become head coaches, or like Kerry Combs decided to go to the NFL, but no, this is a very unique situation. And it's also very unique that I have the strength of young coaches on my staff that I have. This has been a very, this best group of young coaches I've ever had on both sides of the ball. And they're very involved with our preparation, game plan, and development of our players.
Go another 2 rows behind to Honda.
Urban, Hondo Carpenter with Spartan Nation. With all due respect to the Ohio State-Michigan rivalry, which is storied and among the best in the nation, Michigan hasn't made it a rivalry with you on the field since in quite a while, but Michigan State has. I know that you greatly respect Antonio. He feels the same. Can you talk about that Michigan State-Ohio State rivalry, please?
Yeah, I think it's always been there. You know, I don't think, I remember back in the day, we lost in 1986. We lost to Coach Perlis at Ohio Stadium. Scored on the first play of the game. And then when I was at Notre Dame, we played there and played against them every year. And no, I agree with what you said as far as, you know, maybe all the focus is on the other rivalry, because that will never change. However, and I don't believe it's just Coach Antonio. I believe it's Michigan State, Ohio State. There's an incredible history there. It just so happens we're in a 7-year,